Hey guys, Gavin here from Ultimate Reloader. We're going to continue in this video with our series on the RCBS Pro Chucker 5. In the first video we did unboxing. In the second video we did a very secure job of mounting this press to the bench. In this video we're going to do the first half of press assembly, which is going to be the basic press assembly and part of the preparation for loading 45 ACP. In the next video we'll assemble the powder measure. After that we'll be able to start loading. So let's start putting this press together. The first step in assembling the press is to install the primer punch. Now since we're using 45 ACP here, that's what we're going to load. We're going to use the large punch. We're also going to grab a 7/16 inch wrench. Now we've got the sub plate in the highest possible position. The ram is at the top of the stroke. The next step is going to be to thread in the primer punch and then snug it down with the wrench. Alright, so as you can see here, I've got it threaded in and I'm just going to snug that down. Okay, now it's time to install the primer transfer bar. We're just going to set this in with the horizontal post between the transfer bar guide and this feature at the end of the primer slide. We've got the rear post facing up. We're using the large transfer bar because we're going to be loading 45 ACP, which uses large primers. Okay, next comes the dispenser. So we've got a small post here. The post goes in the forward hole, forward pointing towards the press. Then we've got an Allen screw back here that we're going to use to secure the dispenser to the press. Okay. And again, I'm going to be a little bit sparing with my torque on there. Okay, get this in place and get the rear guide here in place. Another Allen screw that we use to secure it to the press, making sure it's aligned with the subplate feature here. And we're going to snug that down as well. Now we can take the safety shield, thread that onto the dispenser. Next is the primer tube and cap. Alright, so we take our large primer tube, drop that down into place. We're going to feel that set in to its feature there, and then take the cap, thread that down, and we'll feel that snug down just a little bit. Next we install the primer transfer bar return spring, and the instructions suggest a precision screwdriver for this task. So I am going to try that out, and that works pretty good. Okay, so we've got that down over the metal post. The metal post has a feature that holds the spring in place vertically, and then we can basically pretty easily set that down over the plastic post. Now we've got a transfer bar that's going to actuate back and forth as the press cycles. Alright, so now it's time to install the shell plate. The first thing we need to make sure that we do is stand up the sub plate up off the bottom of index position. And that's important because this indexing pawl right here is going to need to be back a little bit so that it doesn't get crushed when we tighten down the shell plate. Okay, so we've got a shell plate number 3 that's going to work with 45 ACP. Before we put that down, we're going to take our detent spring and ball, set that into position. Then we lower the shell plate down, squeezing it by all of the case retention arms. We've got one here that's interfering just a little bit, so I'm just going to kind of wiggle it down. We also need to make sure that our ejection wire is out of line. Okay, then we're going to put on our washer and our nylon lock nut. I'm just going to hold this down. When we engage the nylon, I can actually use a 5/8 inch socket to get this kind of locked down into place. Okay. And what the RCBS instructions state you should do is take something like a combo wrench and the Allen key, and then carefully back off the nut about a quarter turn. So I'm going to call that a quarter, and then we carefully perform an indexing to make sure that things aren't binding up. I recommend this on any press, and wow, that is nice and smooth. Next, we're going to install the spent primer drop tube. So I'm just going to feed that up through the bottom. You can see there's a hole in the bottom of the sub plate. And then we're going to carefully engage the Allen screw in there and just snug that down while we pull down on the tube, making sure it won't fall out. Next is the installation of the completed cartridge ejection chute. So I've already started the Allen screw down here, and I basically just need to get this into the right orientation. I'm going to leave this just a little bit on the loose side so that I can fine tune it when I start to load ammunition. All right, to wrap up this video, let's install the tool head. So this is the Pro Chucker 5-station tool head. You notice there's two ones here. That goes right above the number 1 position here. So we're going to drop it down, we're going to rotate it slightly, and then we've got 3 set screws that are going to keep this tool head aligned properly so that the cases align under each station appropriately. There we go. All right, so we've completed the initial phases of press assembly for the Pro Chucker 5. In the next video, we're going to pick up where we left off by assembling the powder measure. I hope you liked this video, and don't forget to stick around and catch all the action with the Pro Chucker 5 and Pro Chucker 7. If you like my channel, please subscribe. And of course, as always, the full story is on ultimatereloader.com. Thanks a lot.